It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Friday edition of the show. Hey, thanks so much for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a part of your workday. Real special treat here today. Yes, we are at the 2023 InVigor Series. It's the first stop of three, and we're going to see tonight in the Western Canadian Baseball League, Moose Jaw Miller Express playing the hometown Lethbridge Bulls. There actually is two more stops on this InVigor Series tour. They're going to be in Swift Current on July 23rd, and Winnipeg, they're going to be there August 26th. So they're going to see the Kansas City Monarchs play the Winnipeg Goldeyes. So two more stops. If you are in those areas and are customers and planting InVigor, make sure you talk to your local BASF rep about that. And today's show, we're going to have some fun. Yes, we're baseball. And my favorite sport, for those of you that listen to this show on a regular basis, you know that baseball is it's my favorite sport, and my kids are heavily involved in it. And speaking of my kids, my oldest son, Kalem, is going to be joined by one of the other players here on the Lethbridge Bulls, Carlin, Dyck. Both of them play for the Bulls. They have for the past number of years. Here, the Western Canadian Baseball League is a summer wood bat league. We're going to hear about that in a little bit. And Carlin and Kalem will join us. And really looking forward to interacting and having fun. Like I've been saying, this is kind of like my worlds colliding here at the game as they're going to take the field in about an hour. So this is going to be really good. We'll also be joined today by Darrin Hicks. He will join us to talk about some of the things that are coming up here at BASF InVigor Hybrid Canola. Darrin is the senior brand manager at BASF, and he's going to talk about the 10-year anniversary as well of InVigor's pod shatter reduction technology, and kind of what the purpose is of the 2023 InVigor Series that BASF is putting on. We'll also have a farmer panel. We're gonna rope some farmers from the patio here. There's a lot of visiting going on. We're gonna lasso a couple during a commercial break here, and make sure they join us for a bit of a farmer panel, find out how they're making it on their farm. 2023, quite dry in this area. We'll talk about that and a whole bunch of other issues that are impacting them. If you have any feedback on today's show, we'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also find us across the different social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok. And we're also on Threads, as I've been joking and talking about as well. The RealAg feedback line is 855-776-6147. When Darrin's on the show here, Darrin Hicks, I'm going to talk to him about kind of the connection of farming and baseball. I think it's actually very, very close. There's some metaphor to it, but there's also the fact that it's summer. And that's when, obviously, farming is really, really making it happen when it comes to a crop production standpoint. There's the greenskeeper, the grass. There's just something about a freshly watered infield, the lines mowed into the stadium outfield grass. It's the hot dog. It's the cold beer. It's really there's nothing like it in the summertime. And I just think there's a strong connection, especially when you're in Canada, which may seem a little bit strange to some of our American listeners, but baseball's very strong here. And definitely as you travel throughout the U.S., you have that same, especially in the Midwest, you have that same kind of, that real connection. I spent a lot of time in Montana, in a lot of rural towns with American Legion Baseball, and it's that same kind of connection that people have in those towns to the local baseball team, whether it be the College Woodbat League team, whether it be some sort of rookie ball A team, like you would have in certain places, or maybe you're lucky enough to be somewhat close to a larger center, and it's Major League Baseball. It's baseball is one special sport that really involves. When I think about it, it involves adversity, and we know adversity very, very well in agriculture. We know it on a yearly basis. Mother Nature presents us with a lot of adversity. Sometimes our own mistakes present us with a lot of adversity and hindsight. But that's also kind of baseball. It's a game of adversity. And, you've heard the line where, you could be in the Hall of Fame and only succeed 3 out of 10 times. And so it's a game of learning to deal with failure. And to me, that's very close to farming for sure. One of the other connections that is out there is that emotional connection. The kind of passion that as a child continues into adulthood, and success on the field is what kind of dreams are made of, which is similar also to farming. As you think about, rolling around in that tractor with your dad when you're a young kid, and you think about those times just like going to the baseball game with your parents and then sharing some of those same experiences when you become a parent as well. So that's kind of a cool part of having my son here on the show. And also, I'm going to tell kind of a cool story about how that kind of what goes around comes around, and sort of giving back to local fans of the game as well. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to bring in Carlin, Dyck, and Kalem Haney, who play here for the Lethbridge Bulls, and we're going to get some of their perspective before they have to hit the field tonight, talk about how they ended up here, their college careers, and what's in store for their baseball futures, and we'll do that when we come back. You're listening to RealAg Radio, broadcasting today from the 2023 InVigor Series in Lethbridge, Alberta, brought to you by BASF Canada.
Advanced canola trait technology is here. And it's soon to be the talk of the town. Optimum Glide delivers excellent yield potential and agronomic trait performance. Improved crop safety. Enhanced weed control. And a wider window of application. You're going to want to see this. Learn more at OptimumGlide.ca.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio, broadcasting here from Altec 1. We are fortunate now to be joined by the CEO of Altec. It is Dr. Mark Lyons. Mark, for some of the listeners in Canada and the U.S. that have heard of Altec but aren't totally familiar with what those products are, talk about that.
We focus on how do we deploy sustainable solutions for agriculture. So mainly through nutrition, whether that's crop nutrition or animal nutrition. That's kind of the area that we understand the best. Our background is in microbiology, so we've worked with all sorts of different types of fermentation to produce these types of technologies. But ultimately what we're trying to do is how do we improve the health of that animal, that crop, end up with something that we're not having to use as many chemical interventions, and we're really aligned with the future and really where consumers are already getting to today, and regulators as well. There's so much conversation around sustainability. We've got to be able to measure what we're doing, reduce our impact, but at the same time produce more nutrition, which is ultimately what the population needs.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio for the InVigor Series presented by BASF Canada. We're at the Lethbridge Bulls game here. Looking forward to seeing the Lethbridge Bulls take on the Moose Jaw Miller Express. We'll see how that goes tonight. Hey, by the way, we've got a couple players here joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And actually, I got a good personal connection to both of these guys. First up, Carlin, Dyck. Hey, Carlin, how's it going?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, good to chat with you. Okay, so Carlin, where'd you grow up?
Abbotsford, British Columbia.
Okay, what brought you to Lethbridge?
When I was 15, I wanted to go to the Vauxhall Baseball Academy and ended up going there when I was 16.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Also joining us is, I'm a little bit connected to him. It's my son, Kalem Haney. Hey, Kalem, how are you doing?
Good, Dad. How are you doing?
Okay. Well, it's clear how you ended up in Lethbridge because obviously you're from here, but you had the same experience growing up as Carlin did. You guys were actually teammates in Vauxhall.
Yes. We went to school for 1 year, 2 years together, and then now we've best friends ever since.
Yeah, quite the pair. Quite the pair. We'll try to keep some of the stories clean here for everybody, but we will. We're going to find out a little bit about these two because the Western Canadian Baseball League it is across Alberta and Saskatchewan. As I mentioned tonight, Moose Jaw, rural town, a lot of farming communities around Moose Jaw. Regina's in the league. Saskatoon's coming into the league, I believe, next year.
Yep.
We've got Sylvan Lake, Okotoks, of course, Boo. But rural communities kind of make up a lot, and there's a lot of farmers that come to these games. Tonight we're going to have a lot of farmers here because of BASF and InVigor being the game night sponsors. What's it like, Carlin, to play in front of all these people on a nightly basis?
I think it's awesome. Like, compared to college, like, I don't go to the biggest collegiate school, but compared to those schools, like, there's a lot of energy in the stadium, and whatever fans come to the game, like, I think they bring a lot of energy and a different dynamic to the ballpark every night.
So where do you go to college?
Canisius College in Buffalo, New York. Actually, Canisius University as of this year.
They changed it?
Yeah, they just became a university.
And are they the Griffins?
Yeah, Golden Griffins.
The Golden Griffins. That sounds very prestigious.
Yeah.
Buffalo, how's that winter for you?
It's cold. A lot of snow.
For a kid that grew up in Abbotsford, Buffalo.
I know. Long ways away.
That's a lot more snow than you used to get in Abbotsford, for sure. And Kalem, you're at the University of Marion, North Dakota, also quite a wintry place.
Yep.
What's winter like in North Dakota?
Cold. Very, very cold.
Colder than Lethbridge?
I would say so.
You think is more wind, or what is it?
I would say the wind is what makes it even colder.
Maybe a little bit more humidity?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. For you, what's it like to play in front of all the people here on a nightly basis?
Yeah, it's nice, especially in my hometown. It's nice seeing like familiar faces that I've grown up being around, and the fans bring a good atmosphere, so it's been good, though. The
thing that I notice, guys, is the kids that come to the games and really look up to you guys. You might as well be major leaguers. And there's guys that play in this league that have ended up in the major leagues. That's like, I'm not joking about that. That does happen. But for the kids locally or some of the road trips you go on, the kids that come to these games, they look at you guys as if you're major leaguers, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's for sure. It's like we were like, I don't know, 10 years ago we were in the same thing. We thought guys that were older than us, whether it be in like this league or professional baseball, like we looked up to them like we wanted to be them one day, and now it's kind of cool seeing kids looking up to us in the same way that we did when we were younger.
Yeah, Kalem, you've got a cool story about a family friend of ours who, when you were like 10 years old, you would come to these games, look up to him.
Yeah.
Talk about what happened.
Yeah, Mike Coe. He was the coach when I was little, and he would always bring me out in the field, play catch with some of the guys, bring me to the locker room, get a ball sign, and now he's got kids that are young, and they look up to me and other Bulls players. So I'm kind of taking them under my wing and bring them out and play catch and get baseball signed for them.
Which would be really strange is if one day you bring your kids to the games and and Cozy's kids were playing baseball here. That would be like not just full circle, but like a total
double.
That's like a double whammy. So, okay, so in the Western Canadian Baseball League, it's a college wood bat league. For those that don't follow baseball that closely, Summer Wood Bat League is where college kids, bigger crowds, it's because the weather's nicer. They play with wood bats. In college, they actually play with aluminum bats. And it's an opportunity to get more reps. Talk about kind of why are you here? Like, what are you trying to accomplish in Summer Wood Bat, Carlin?
I think the biggest thing for me is having fun. Like, when I'm at college, I think I almost put too much pressure on myself. And then when I come back here, it's kind of relaxing, a deep breath, and I can have fun and just go and play the game. And for me, it's just like I enjoy playing baseball. I go out there every night and play baseball just because I love the game, and so that's the biggest thing for me is why I play is just because I love the game.
Yeah, Kalem, for you, what's the biggest difference between your college season and being here?
I think just like playing in the summer, it's a lot of the guys I've grown up with. It's playing with friends that I've had since I was 12 or Carlin since 15. It's a lot of the friends that I've had for a long time. Where college, you kind of go and you kind of know maybe one guy, maybe two guys, and you have to kind of get to know them. They turn into your friends, but coming home for the summer, you play with a lot more guys that you've known for a while.
Yeah, Josh Kabiyama is on the Lethbridge Bulls here, and you played with him when you were 12.
12, yep.
Went to two
World Series.
Two World Series with him too. So that's really, really cool. So you guys, in this league and in college, you spend a lot of time on a bus. It's not all private jets.
Oh, never.
No.
Yeah. So you get a lot of time on a bus. And what's your longest bus trip?
I think my longest is 13 hours to Lynchburg, Virginia.
Kalem's got you beat. What's yours?
I think ours was 16 hours to Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah. No, Missouri, too. You went to
Missouri,
Lynchburg.
that was 14 hours, though. So
that's a long haul.
It's still long, but not as long.
Do you have a favorite state that you've driven through? We got a lot of Americans listening here to Rural Radio 147, and a lot of them are from some of the states I know you boys have driven through. So what would be your favorite state that you've gone through?
I think mine is Pennsylvania because
cool.
Because of the fact that it's, like, hilly, but it's also farmland. I don't like when they just drive through trees and you can't see anything. So there's a lot of hills and a lot of farmland. It kind of reminds me of home, which is nice, and I just enjoy the ride through there.
Yeah, it's sort of. I went to watch Kalem in northern Iowa, and we landed in Chicago, drove to northern Iowa, and it was like that, very hilly, and like we went to Omaha. It doesn't get flatter than Omaha, Nebraska.
No.
Kalem, how about you?
I would say Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, driving through there. And then even just like I play in the Midwest, so we see a lot of farmland, driving through Iowa, driving through Minnesota, North Dakota. We see a lot of farmland there.
Yeah, you definitely would. And you grew up on a farm.
Yep.
You did?
Yeah, I did till we moved when I was 14.
Yeah.
And I know basically everything now.
you notice, say, hey, that's corn.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Corn, yeah.
Carlin, how about you? You grew up on a farm?
I did. I grew up on a smaller farm. No crops, but my grandma owns a civil construction company.
Yep.
And then my dad runs a hobby farm of like 35 to 40 head of cattle on the side.
Yeah, and did you ever help out on the farm at all? Did you ever do any of that stuff?
I used to work every summer that I wasn't playing here in Lethbridge. So when I was in Vauxhall, I worked every summer for my grandma's construction company, and then I would help my dad whenever he needed help feeding the cows or moving cows or whenever we'd make hay in the summertime too.
Yeah, no, baseball is a very up-and-coming sport. I think we're really on the rise in Canada, sort of similar to what we saw in basketball post Vince Carter. We're quite prolific in basketball, and I think baseball is really in kind of that wheelhouse right now. Now, a lot of people were maybe listening south of the border in the U.S. and saying, Canada, baseball? Like, I thought it was hockey. How did you guys end up in baseball and not end up in hockey?
I think, like, the biggest thing for me when I think of why I chose baseball, I was actually in my Bantam year of playing hockey, and I thought that I wanted to play hockey. Like, I went to a tryout at Yale Hockey Academy, and I wanted to play there. And then I didn't end up making the team. I started playing baseball, and I was like, why did I even want to try playing hockey? And I ended up quitting hockey, and baseball took over the rest of the way. It was just love of the game.
Kalem, how about you?
Mine was the opportunity to go to Vauxhall. I played hockey all the way up until midget first year, and that was my last year after I got the invite to come to Vauxhall Academy.
Yeah, and for both you guys, you got beer league.
Yeah,
there is that.
We did play it in high school.
yeah, absolutely. I remember all that. Definitely in my mind. Yeah, for sure. So your guys' plan is to play here till about the middle of August, and then, like, honestly, this school ended. You came here.
Yeah. This
ends about August 15th to 17th if you make the finals and the playoffs. Let's hope. And then you got to go right to school again.
Yeah, pretty much get a week off after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I'm driving to school this year too, so I have even.
You can drive from here to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Wow. That's some windshield time.
Oh yeah.
Are you a music guy or you listen to podcasts?
I think I'm gonna mix it up a bit of both. A lot of music.
Little
sure,
RealAg Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good mix in.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try some conspiracy podcasts. I've heard those are cool too. So.
Kalem, when do you got to be back at school?
I think school starts September 7th, so I'll probably head down there September 1st.
Okay. And then do you guys play games in the fall?
Sparingly, we'll play junior colleges around 2 or 3 games. The rest is inter squads.
Yeah, okay. Same with us. We play 2 or 3.
Okay. Well, guys, I can tell you this: there is going to InVigor has a huge client base here in this area of Lethbridge. A lot of BASF seed production is in the Lethbridge area as well. They got a lot of growers coming here tonight. There's going to be a lot of people cheering. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hope you guys have your best game and put on a bit of a show here for the fans tonight.
We're going to have to.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Absolutely. Okay, Kalem Haney, Carlin, Dyck, thanks a lot, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got Darrin Hicks from BASF InVigor. He'll be here right after this quick break. You're listening to RealAg Radio here at the InVigor Series.
Canola is more than just a pretty face in the prairie landscape. It's a big business, both here and around the world, that requires you to be informed and up to date on everything it takes to grow a successful crop. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com has an expert library of video resources covering markets, agronomy, and more to help you grow a healthy and profitable canola crop. Visit canolaschool.com today. Brought to you by BASF Canada and InVigor Hybrid Canola. If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today.
Welcome back to RealAg Radio, broadcasting from the InVigor Series, brought to you by BASF Canada. And we are at the Lethbridge Bulls versus the Moose Jaw Miller Express. And it's going to be a great game here tonight. Looking forward to it. We just heard from a couple of the players, one of them being my son and a good family friend. So this is like my worlds colliding here, which is it's pretty cool. Joining us right now is Darrin Hicks. He's Senior Brand Manager at BASF. Darrin, great to see you, bud.
Yeah, you too, Shaun. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. This is pretty cool. This is a really cool event. You got a lot of customers coming here tonight for the game. I honestly, there's a huge connection between baseball and farming. Great idea.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. I mean, there's so many parallels you can draw between planning and strategy and commitment and dedication, all those sort of, sports sort of cliches,
Yeah.
But I think for us, really, it's really more around community, sport is so woven into the fabric of our communities. If this was in the wintertime, we'd be in a hockey rink, but in the summertime, it just makes perfect sense to be at a baseball field, right? And I think, the reason we're here today is to celebrate our customers, right? I mean, they mean so much to us. We didn't want to just send them a letter in the mail or, do lip service. We wanted to show them how much we appreciate them, right, with something like this and give back to the community a little bit. And Lethbridge is such a important location for us at BASF with a lot of production fields around here. Obviously, you see production. We got our plant here where we do all our treating and bagging. So Lethbridge is such a huge part of our business, and we couldn't be happier to be here.
Yeah, and, I think Field of Dreams, it was in a cornfield, so that pretty much establishes the connection right there. Spitz Stadium is a very nice facility. It is gorgeous. It is one of the nicest parks for sure in the Western Canadian Baseball League. It's funny. I spent pretty much in the summertime I live here because of both my boys. My youngest plays American Legion baseball here at Lethbridge, and then of course Kalem, who we just heard from, plays for the Bulls. And a lot of people come into town here, and they're like, "Wow, this is pretty nice."
I did it myself walking in here. I didn't realize it was this impressive of a stadium. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so talk about the InVigor Series. Connecting with the customers in a I guess a more of a relaxed kind of fun atmosphere. Is that the intent?
Absolutely, Shaun. Like I said before, we're just trying to show our customers, both grower and retail, how important they are to us by just showing up and showing them versus just lip service, like I said before. So whether it's here, Swift Current, Winnipeg, where we're going to be,
right?
We're just happy to be out. Because, without our customers, we're nothing, obviously. And, we're just happy to be here with them and show them how much they do mean to us.
Okay, I didn't realize this. This time flies. And I remember, you growing up, your parents would always say, like, man, the year's gone by so fast. And you're like, as a kid, you're like, no, it's not. Yeah. We are 10 years. 10 years. It's the 10th anniversary of InVigor's pod shatter reduction technology. How did 10 years happen? That's incredible.
I know, right? It's unbelievable. I mean, so 2024 planting will be 10 years that sort of game-changing, to use that pun, technology has been in the market.
But I don't think that's overstated.
Yeah.
Think about it. The ability, and I think at the beginning, everybody remembers Sell the Swather, and the move to straight cut, which this is a crop canola where we didn't really think we'd ever be able to straight cut it for a number of different weather reasons. And this trait has proven a lot of people wrong, probably even people internally that were working on InVigor at the time.
Yeah, it's really hard to me, it's our biggest differentiator as a brand, right? I mean, You've got yield and performance, but pod shatter's right there. So it's 10 years already, and, for the first time ever in 2024, every hybrid in our lineup will have this trait, every single one. So that shows you how important of a trait it is, not only to us, but to farmers as well.
And the flexibility. So initially it started out where you went up to swathing, but a lot of people are using the trait and then swathing because basically it gives them a little bit more flexibility from a harvest perspective, depending on the year that they have.
100%. I mean, they can leave it standing. They can feel confident to leave it standing, to go swath it a little bit later, or go into straight cut it. It's about that flexibility.
Do you have like a prediction for me on what you think the canola yield is going to be? Because, boy, it's variable.
It sure is, isn't it? I mean, it's funny who you talk to. It's like they're having a great year, or the next guy you talk to, it's like, man, it's a struggle. It's drought again. So it's really hard to say. It'll be interesting next week when I'm out at Ag Emotion and talk to a few more farmers and see how they're feeling. But I think, it'll probably average out. Probably be an average year.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I see it.
There's real science to this prediction. Yeah. Real science, okay? I joked about this earlier this week on the show. I'm just saying between, it's sort of maybe halfway between 21 and 22. Yeah. But maybe a little bit closer to 22.
That's how it feels to me, too, yeah. That's a good way to say it.
Alberta's definitely the poorest of the three.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then you've got other areas like where I'm from originally, southwestern Saskatchewan. They had all kinds of rain early, and it was looking great. Almost too much rain probably, and then taps completely shut off. So I mean, it's there, and then it's everywhere in between. So, but I think it's probably going to average out to an average year.
I just remembered this. I was in Ghent, Belgium, and met the researcher that did the trait of pod shatter.
Nice. I've never met the man.
We were InVigor did a tour with some key customers, and I was invited to come on the trip and did a bunch of interviews. This is going back, I don't know how many years ago it was. Blaine was on the trip, and there was farmers from across Western Canada, and it was neat to hear his stories about how the first version, it was like you couldn't ever get the seed out of the pod.
Right. Yeah.
it was glued shut. So what are some of the things that growers can look for? Because you're always innovating. So what are some of the things that growers can look to in the future when it comes to technologies and traits? And is it just all of that adding up to just trying to raise the production number, yield, and things like that? Or what can we expect in the future?
I think ultimately that's what it is, right? Everybody's chasing yield all the time. But, I think, more specifically, we've got a brand new InVigor Health coming in 2024 that we're really excited about, InVigor L358 HPC. So we think it's going to be a real game changer in terms of yield. So we're very excited about that. We continue to work on maturity. I feel like maturity is, something that sort of gets forgotten a little bit about with farmers from time to time. But we certainly recognize the importance, specifically here in Alberta, about early maturing hybrids. So we're doing a lot of work on that. We hope to have a new offering in 25. But yeah, other than that, I think you're right. I mean, I think it's still just, we're still chasing that 52 by 25, right? I mean, that's sort of the goal. So that's where we'll continue to put our focus.
Okay, so next week is Ag in Motion. You mentioned it. Yep. Obviously, you're going to be there.
We'll be there all week.
Yeah, you got plots and everything going.
We'll have plots there. We're in the same spot as we were the last few years. So yeah, be happy to encourage everybody to come out and see us, and we'll be happy to see everybody there.
Absolutely. We're talking to Darrin Hicks. He is Senior Brand Manager at BASF. Darrin, thanks a lot for joining us.
Hey, thank you, Sean.
It's good to see you.
Appreciate it. You too, man.
I'll buy you a beer tonight, I promise.
Thanks.
Okay. We'll be right back here on Real Ag Radio, broadcasting from the 2023 InVigor Series from Spitz Stadium in Lethbridge, Alberta.
Infuse some energy into your next corporate event, customer meeting, or conference with RealAg Radio, Canada's national agriculture radio show. Create a unique experience at your next event with host Shaun Haney, broadcasting RealAg Radio live on Sirius XM, featuring exciting guests, captivating interviews, and the latest news from the agriculture community. Contact advertising at realagriculture.com or call 587-787-1795 to book your on location with RealAg Radio today.
Hi, I'm Bernard Tobin, host of the Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com. Throughout the year, on the Soybean School, we'll bring you timely agronomic video content from planting to harvest, from the latest agronomic research to the latest in production technology. Check out our massive video library on YouTube, RealAgriculture.com, or download the audio podcast versions wherever you get your podcasts. The Soybean School is brought to you by Pride Seeds, BASF, and Syngenta Canada.
Peter Johnson at WheatPete, RealAgriculture.com. I'm the host of The Word, and I love doing The Word. I love the questions. I love the challenges. I love having to apply agronomics to all over the globe and areas outside of my normal jurisdiction. Also, I love the feedback the most, where growers challenge me, tell me about their plot results, help me to learn. The Word absolutely the best part of my day.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio, broadcasting here from Spitz Stadium in Lethbridge, Alberta. We're at the 2023 InVigor Series stop here in Lethbridge. We're going to watch them play, or the Lethbridge Bulls play the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Pretty good name. Reminds me of beer, which I think we're going to have a few here tonight at the game with all of BASF and InVigor's customers. Looking forward to it. Time for a farmer panel. And two guys I actually know decently, quite well, and looking forward to hearing how they're making out here in 2023. Up first, Steve Vandervalk coming out of Fort MacLeod, Alberta. Actually drove through your town today coming back from Calgary.
Got to drive through Fort MacLeod to go anywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. How are the crops, Stephen?
Well, a tale of two farms, I guess. We have a north farm and a south farm, though they're only maybe 6-7 miles apart, but we had a big 4-inch rain event kind of right at the very end of being almost too dry for a point of no return. Lots of hail. So those crops actually aren't doing too bad. But north of what we call the 519 between Nobleford and Grantham, anything north of there to Claresholm is brutal.
And brutal is an understatement. No, it's not good.
No, it's not good. It's I don't know, if we get a rain to fill what's there, let's say, we might get half a crop. But yeah, we could be a lot less.
Yeah. Also joining us is Nathan Nieboer with Quattro Ventures out of Bow Island, Alberta. Nathan, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so tell me about Quattro Farms.
So we're
in Quattro Ventures.
Quattro Ventures, Quattro Farms, either way.
I keep on doing that.
It's Quattro Farms, also a real entity for us. So we're an irrigated and dryland farm out in the Bow Island area with a specialty on, specialty egg crops in the irrigated sector, as well as, broadacre crops on our dryland acres.
And how are things looking out there?
Well, irrigated is holding its own. It's looking really good. Dry and hot, and irrigated tends to perform well during those types of weather conditions. But dryland, of course, is pretty similar across the prairies. It's not looking very pretty. We're not expecting much out of our any dryland cereals that we're seeing. Lentils are maybe holding on a bit. If they had some rain, they might make something, but it's kind of hit and miss. The forecast isn't looking super promising, but we'll take it as it comes.
Yeah, that Mother Nature. We shouldn't drop any bad words here on Rural Radio, but there's words to describe what's happened here, because this is not just 1 year. No. We're Stephen. What are we? Year 3 of this? 4 maybe.
We'll for sure be in some sort of crop insurance, and this will be 6 out of 7 that we've dipped into crop insurance.
Oh man, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for crop insurance.
You know what? I've done a lot of these interviews the last 3 weeks, and I try to wind that in somehow, because it is important to note that we do have crop insurance. I also have some other businesses that we have that are non-ag, and we don't have those backstops. Crop insurance is expensive. It's we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on premiums, but it's an option, and other people don't have it. So, but we're also starting to wear away at our averages, and our premiums are starting to get more expensive, just like any insurance.
Good point. And Nathan, on some of the irrigation, where I'm kind of optimistic on the irrigated crop is that we haven't really seen a lot of heat. It's been warm, but we haven't had 4 weeks of plus 35.
I think that's definitely working in our favor right now, but we are, to be 100% honest, we are looking at a certain allocation of water in our district. We're in the St. Mary's River Irrigation District, and we're at a 14-inch cap, and you are looking at how much water you have for potatoes or sugar beets or hybrid seed canola production, cereal production, and trying to manage. It's a blessing that we have it, but trying to manage that allocation within our operation and make it work. So that's definitely, crops are holding on. They're looking good. Rainfall would be, a major blessing for all of us.
Doesn't rain here anymore.
It sure hasn't.
Well, we're on the LNID district, and so you know the story there.
Yeah.
Government fumbled about 10 different times in a row, so that hasn't been. We're doing okay now. We have full allocation, 16 inches. A little less than 17 and a half, but we weren't able to water for the first month, right?
Do you think we're going to have a payout? I saw Minister Sigurdsson, the Minister of Agriculture for Alberta. Yeah. I saw him last night at a Stampede party. I interviewed him about it. He was a little bit non-committal on some sort of payment. What do you think, farmers? You think there's going to be a payment? Like, I know how much you love government payments.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a free enterprise guy.
I know you are.
I'm a wheat grower. So, but that being said, the government completely mismanaged that. It was completely 100% government fault. And what they happened there, we can go into, we don't need to, but so I think there should be of all times. But my guess, if you had to say pick one, I'd say probably not. But I'm hopeful because, I mean, they made 10 mistakes in a row that should never have been made. And so they need to take a responsibility.
Now, Nathan, you don't have commercial canola.
That's right.
You're a seed grower. You have the seed production.
Yes.
So for people that roll through areas like Southern Alberta, Moses Lake, in Washington, there's production in Colorado, of course South America. But you produce. You got the tents in the field with the bees, and you're growing seed production.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So we do, hybrid pedigreed seed production for BASF. And some other seed canola companies, and that's kind of involved process where we work with the BASF agronomists and to, produce a quality crop so that we can produce seed for the next year's planting. So
mow the males out at some point.
Exactly. So
which I have always protested. We eliminate the male.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't seem fair.
It does not seem fair. We did our job, and then we're just eliminating.
Throw away.
It's like we're a bunch of spiders or something.
Yeah, just decimate them is actually, it's funny.
Yeah. So, Stephen, you have commercial canola.
Yes. Yeah, we have on dry land and irrigation. So, irrigation is doing okay. It's still, what you said about not being hot. But one thing that's for sure going for us is not been windy. It's been very little wind, and so that's been great. The dry land, of all the crops on dry land, canola has taken it the worst. It's brutal. It's like beyond brutal. Like I don't know if we're going to get 10 bushels on some fields. So, I mean, that's real bad. The irrigation is looking much better. But then again, that hail basically wiped us down to nothing. Yeah. So we're restarting. So we're about 2-3 weeks late on our half our irrigated canola.
So on a normal year, what would you budget for canola yield on dry land? Like what would you pencil in for a spreadsheet?
So our 15, I guess our AFSE 15-year average is like 49 or 50.
Okay, and then irrigation?
That's a tough one. Like, it's like if you go over every acre and, you really do a true thing, like 75 for us is a big irrigated crop.
And if you got over 80, you're just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's happened like twice. Like 70 to 75 is realistic, true, every acre. Over the, no messing around using bins. That's, scaling it off the grain cart.
Yeah. Do you swath your canola or do you straight cut?
Both.
You do both?
Yeah, I'm kind of against spraying ripe crops. I don't think our customers want that, and I think it's a very dangerous thing to a certain extent to be doing that long term for our crops. So we try not to straight cut our irrigation. You almost have to desiccate it. So we try to swath our irrigation, and then it also, how it is when you straight cut. You're extending it 2-3 weeks. And in Southern Alberta,
the wind,
we get 140 wind in October, September. Yeah. And you could have had it off 2 weeks earlier swathing. You might give up some yield for sure. There's no doubt. But so we do a little bit of swathing to break it up.
And Nathan, with seed canola, you're always swathing.
It tends to be a call on what the stand looks like. Is it tied nicely together? Then we'll look at like a reg loan option, but that same risk always exists, right? Where if we desiccate, the wind will just blow it away. It'll shatter away. So it really depends on a call on what that crop looks like. If we're going to swath or we're going to straight cut, and make the call as the season progresses.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I was saying at the beginning of the show, there's a lot of adversity in baseball. People go to the Hall of Fame only succeeding 3 out of 10 times at the plate. We learn, that's why I put my boys in it, because it teaches you to deal with failure, right? And I think that's something that we don't put a lot of kids through anymore is dealing with failure. Baseball is a game of failure. It's the perfect kind of training ground for farming.
Yeah, that's for
because
sure.
We know adversity quite well, right, Stephen? It's if it's not the weather, it's other stuff being thrown our way.
Yeah, it just never ends. It's one of those things where, and I don't know if you've noticed it, in the last 5-6 years, it's not quite as fun as it used to be. There's everything going wrong, from wireworm and to cutworm eating your seed. And then the seed comes out, and then you got flea beetles and lygus and Bertha armyworm, and I mean the list goes on and on and on. And it's like you live in the sprayer now, and so it never ends. And there's always something. It's like you start with 100% yield, and it's just a battle. Where are we going to get 70% of the yield for the year? We're going to get 80. It's just a battle the whole time, and that's one thing that I've been finding a little bit more frustrating as the time goes on. But hopefully, that being said, technology and equipment is so much better that's kind of nice too.
Do you have weed resistance?
Oh, tons. Yeah.
Kochia,
wild oats. Group 1 resistant wild oats is brutal. Kochia is just a nightmare.
Kochia everywhere.
We talk about Kochia here, like probably they talk. Well, and Kochia is not as bad as Palmer amaranth, but we have the same sort of like we despise it, right, Nathan? It's everywhere.
It doesn't matter where you look. Kochia is probably one of the number one weeds that we see across irrigation, dry land, multiple herbicide
flushes.
spectrums. Like you just that's a weed that you're relying on residual controls to try and take care of quite often on the farm.
Yeah. How does Kochia grow 6 feet tall with 1.5 inches of rain?
If only they could turn those genes into something that we could produce.
We need to talk to the people at BASF. They need to develop breed Kochia into a crop. Then
something.
You could farm anywhere if that was the crop. There's no whole deal. It's always that way though. You wonder those. You ask yourself that question.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Brutal.
I mean, you got literally dead barley inside 6 foot high Kochia. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about markets. I got some farm management questions for you, and we'll find out what else is going on your farms in Fort MacLeod and in Bow Island. We're talking to Nathan Nieboer of Quattro Ventures out of Bow Island, Steve Vandervalk out of Fort MacLeod with Vandervalk Farms, and we are at the 2023 InVigor Series here at Spitz Stadium in Lethbridge, Alberta, and we'll be right back right after this.
Whether you're seeding, harvesting, or anything in between, the Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com has you covered. Timely agronomic information from industry experts available online anytime. Give your wheat crop a good start and a great finish with the Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com. Brought to you by C&M Seeds, Syngenta Canada, and the Alberta Wheat and Barley Commission.
As you head out into the field this season, the Corn School's got you covered. Everything from tillage discussions, weed control info, field trial results, yield strategies, and more. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com has the information and advice you need to help you succeed. Brought to you by Pride Seeds and BASF. Corn School episodes are available at cornschool.com, from realagriculture.com, or as a podcast from your favorite streaming service. Download the latest episode today.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio here at the 2023 InVigor Series, brought to you by BASF Canada. This is the first of 3 stops. It's Lethbridge, Alberta here tonight, Swift Current on July 23rd, and Winnipeg on August 26th. So if you are in those areas, make sure you talk to your local BASF or InVigor rep. And we are doing a farmer panel right now. We're talking to Nathan Nieboer of Quattro Ventures and Stephen Vandervalk of Vandervalk Farms out of Fort MacLeod, Alberta. Well, Stephen, I know you follow the markets closely. Do you have any of this sorted out? Because you're dealing with drought. You remember 2021.
Yep.
And the markets have kind of bounced all over the place. So how have you been dealing with it?
Well, we were kind of scratching our head. Excuse me. What was it? 3 weeks ago, we were down to 15-something canola.
Yeah.
And we're just like, it didn't make any sense. And now we're at, today I had a target. I had a little bit of carryover. I was like, do I want to move it? Yeah, if I get $19. I think it hit today, $19. So I think it's going higher yet. I think the crop is that bad. But, you got to kind of take some when the crop when it goes up that high. So I don't have it figured out at all. I'm canola for me.
Are you a roll the dice kind of guy though, or are you an incremental seller? Because you got targets in place.
No, you when you say incremental, I just think wheat board. So I can't do that.
That's against principle.
Yeah, I can't do that. But,
okay, well you can have like in thirds.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, so I'm a big time malt barley grower. Okay. So half to more of our farm is in malt barley. So that's all pre-priced with Active God, right?
Okay.
So half my farm is marketed for the year.
I didn't realize you had that much malt barley.
Yeah, tons. That's our business. And so Canola and stuff, yeah, I will hold off. I used to pre-sell a lot more than I do now. The last 3 or 4 years, anything you've sold has been wrong almost every time.
Yeah.
So that's been frustrating. But then we had this drop. So no, I don't have it figured out. It's tough.
Now I know Nathan does.
Oh, I wish.
For sure.
So what's your perspective?
I don't get a lot of marketing on commercial canola, as we're more on the pedigreed seed side.
Yeah.
But in the markets themselves, we do take a bit of an incremental approach. Not weep or just sell, 1/365th every day of the year. But, that seems probably not the smartest, and I think there can be better management applied to it. But we do kind of look at, do we have a crop coming? Let's market a little bit. We're talking cereals, lentils, kind of the crops we have coming, and, try and make some decisions relating to the crop we have, in the field and or in the bin, and kind of go from there.
Because how many different crops you growing?
Oh wow, we grow a very large number. So we do some potatoes, we do sugar beets, dry beans, we do some essential oils, so mint, dill, and then we'll do in hemp, hybrid seed canola.
Dude, how the heck do you keep all that straight?
It's fortunately on the irrigated crops we do have they're contracted ahead of time, so that takes some of that marketing headache at play. You are kind of knowing you're contracting for either a price at a time, or you have some commitments, and price will be price discovery method as you go. So
how's the hemp market been?
Hemp has been kind of an interesting animal.
That means not well, Stephen.
Yeah.
That's right.
Actually, surprisingly enough, bins are empty. We've actually sold all of our hemp. We've been it seems like it's on a healthier footing than it was previously. We focus on the pedigreed seed part of hemp, but but we do sell some into the commercial market as well, and it seems like they are moving through their products, and it is moving. Yet, it is a market that is subject to oversupply very quickly, which can be an issue.
So with that many crops, how wide's the rotation?
Oh, it's a very, it's quite an interesting animal. Sugar beet, seed canola, those are 1 in 8. You got, potatoes in there, 1 in 6.
It's the flexibility of irrigation, everybody.
Yeah. And so we just try and, we take a look at the rotation as a whole. Our entire management team will look at our rotation and say, okay, what fits where, and try and just try and fit the pieces in every year, and try and make something that works, going forward as well. You don't want to, corner yourself next year.
Now, Stephen, you told me during the commercial break your kids are going to throw the first pitch here tonight. Do they have their dad's arm?
Actually, my boy, he's 6, but he's not too bad. I don't know if I don't think he can make it from the pitcher's mound, but we'll see if they
can
give
move
him
up a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he'll do good if he'll do it.
Is he in baseball?
He is in baseball. Yeah, T-ball. He's not.
Oh,
in
that's
baseball
good. Yeah,
yet.
that's good. But he's on the path. And
yeah. He does it okay. He swings. They told him he should be moving up, so he's doing good.
Yeah. Does he play hockey as well?
He plays hockey. I coach him. He's 6, so he's still in U7. So yeah, he's doing good.
I'm still getting used to the fact we don't call it novice and Adam and everything.
I can't figure it out still. U7, you think 7, no, it's U7, so it's under 7. So it really, you think it's easy, but not very smart here. Yeah.
Nathan, do you have a family?
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old son, and he was in baseball here for the 2nd year in a row. And
nice.
I think he's starting to get to the point that he'd rather maybe throw the ball rather than kick shale.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has been it's just an absolute ball watching him and trying to teach him how to throw, and it's been fun.
Here's what I'll tell you guys. Going through it, I 21 and a 18-year-old son. It's when they get over 10, it gets a lot better.
Yeah.
Right. Baseball under 10 is when they get to 12, it's actually like real baseball. But I know so many people that pulled their kids out of it because the parents find it boring. Well,
that and small towns don't have very good programs in general.
Yeah.
So even at Fort MacLeod, they have the Royals and stuff that's a little bit older, and so you kind of have to take them away, and unless you're really into it, it makes you also just forget it.
And it's interesting. I found in Bow Island, soccer disappeared, and the baseball diamonds have just been absolutely busy the last number of years. Which
that's
is
awesome.
Super crazy. I grew up playing soccer. Baseball was almost a nothing deal, and all of a sudden in Bow Island, baseball diamonds, they're busy every night. It's absolutely crazy to see.
This is why leagues like the Western Canadian Baseball League are so important in provinces like Alberta and Saskatchewan, because you're able to bring your kids to games like this. And like I was saying to the 2 players we had here earlier, one of them being my son, Kalem, is they look at them like major leaguers.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. This is my first game.
Is it really?
Me too. Yeah.
Seriously. Never been before.
You guys are in for a treat. This is good baseball.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, watch out for my son. He's at second base.
Awesome.
For sure.
I knew that. I forgot about it. I did know that.
Good stuff. Okay. Hey, a couple things to wrap up here before we got to run. Bank of Canada raised rates again this week. What's the prime rate at? Or sorry, not the prime. Bank of Canada at 5%. Is that starting? Do you think that starts to impact land prices?
Sure, doesn't seem to have. I mean, to buy land today at 5, I guess it would be like 6.5%. I don't know what it'd be. I mean, you don't even want to do the math on an interest per acre payment. So, yeah, it has to. I mean, I think there's cash sitting in people's accounts.
This is what I've been hearing.
And so they're just, it doesn't matter what you're paying if you're paying cash. But I think once that dries up, I mean, you just can't pay $6,000 or $1 million a quarter for dry land and pay 6% interest. It's just impossible.
What's irrigated land going for in your area?
Oh, I've heard.
I heard $4 million.
I did too.
I've heard 4. I've heard 3. You know,
it's over 3.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
$4 million a quarter.
Like, how do you? I don't know.
I know that's like only $1 million US, but still, no, just kidding. It's 4 million Canadian a quarter is a lot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, the interest payments alone are just out of this world. Like, you know, you'll start looking at productive value of crops, and where, you know, you definitely have some equity in there to make it work.
Hey, guys, we are out of time. Really appreciate you joining me here today. It's been awesome. Enjoy your first Lethbridge Bulls Western Canadian Baseball League game.
Sure.
No, thank you, Shaun. Thanks for all the stuff you do. We really appreciate everything you do for the ag community and getting it out there to the big audience you have.
Well, I really appreciate you guys joining me. I know that I took you away from some of your family and having a cold one, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Well, we have had a lot of fun here today at the 2023 InVigor Series first stop here in Lethbridge, Alberta at Spitz Stadium. And looking forward to the game here between the Lethbridge Bulls and the Moose Jaw Miller Express. Big thanks to BASF, and also InVigor Hybrid Canola. This is a great idea to involve baseball and farming all together, one place, one time. And a whole bunch of great farmers, a lot of familiar faces here on the patio, and looking forward to interacting with all of them, having a cold one, and enjoying this evening's night of baseball. And want to remind everybody, if you have any feedback on today's show, you can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. We'd love your feedback, your commentary, your thoughts on anything you heard here today or anything that's top of your mind. We always love that two-way communication here on the show. You can also contact us through social media, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok, or you can call that RealAg feedback line. 855-776-6147 is the number. You dial that number, you press the number 3, and you leave me a message. A reminder, the 2023 InVigor Series will also be in Swift Current on July 23rd and August 26th in Winnipeg. So make sure you check that out. You talk to your InVigor rep, and you say, hey, I want to be at the baseball game. I want to enjoy a great evening of talking farming and enjoying some baseball, because that's what it's all about here in the summertime. In Canada, we only get, summer's gorgeous. It is short, so we might as well enjoy it, and why not take in baseball while we're doing, because it is a sport in Canada that is very much on the rise. We've got, of course, a lot of great players that we'll recognize when it comes to Major League Baseball, players like Joey Votto, of course, Vladimir Guerrero, also born in Canada, won the Home Run Derby, and boy, did he ever put on a show. So it's a sport on the rise, and take it in your local communities. Like we heard from the farmers tonight, this is the first game I've ever been to. Well, and they're going to have a great time. I promise them they will, and you will too. So check out the 2023 InVigor Series by talking to your InVigor rep. Big thanks to BASF Canada for being the sponsor of today's show. Thank you so much for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio, and we'll chat with you again next week. Cheers, everybody.